Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a moment and point out the most important things in our syllabus. So if you can have a copy or have your computer open, we can go over it together. First of all, it says 5 to 7 substantial essays. You probably saw that and might have freaked out, but part of these are the rough drafts. So don't worry, we will take you through it. Most of them are 3-page long. Really not asking a lot of you, and I think you guys will be able to handle it perfectly. Another thing, you have to get a C- or better to go into the next English sequence. So just keep that in mind. Online learning, if you've never had an online course, you really do need to go through the Blackboard resources. It will cut down on headaches and make your life so much easier. You can read that on your own. The best way to get a hold of me is this phone number here, and it's a Google Voice number because I never know where I'm going to be. So just leave a message. Tell me the class and the section that you're in if you have it handy, and then you can leave me a message and I'll get back to you. But the best way to reach me is actually through email. I'll check this several times a day. If you want me to call you back, you can of course leave me your phone number, but email is usually the best way to get a hold of me, and I'll respond very fast. Office hours, because we're in online format, it's just by appointment. Love to get together with you guys. We can meet for coffee on campus, we can meet over the internet, or we can just chat by phone. Now, the text required, you need to do some really advanced work in getting these. You can go to the campus bookstore if you like. You can choose Amazon as well, but there's some information here that you just need to follow in order to get all of the things that you need. So if you have any problems with that, please let me know. I do want you guys to take the time to read through objectives on your own. The reason that these are so important, a lot of times we just skip over it, is I actually ask you guys to respond to a particular objective, and you're going to write a response, and that's almost every week. So just kind of read these over on your own. These are objectives, specific goals that I have for you guys throughout the class. Okay, what are you going to be doing? Reading, listening to lectures. I'll try to keep my lecture around 20 minutes long, but I'll tell you that it's probably one of the best things that you can do. You should always do that day 1, even though all the assignments are not due until day 7, which is Sunday. The reason for that is I try to give you helpful information to set up the week for you and maybe give you some shortcuts, and then also to help you for the items that are coming ahead. So it's just really helpful if you could try to listen to the lectures on day 1, which will be Monday. Every week you're going to submit a Blackboard post, and this kind of explains here odd number versus even number, what you're actually doing. And within Blackboard, you'll find how to do these. It's pretty easy. You're just following through the learning activities in Blackboard. And again, please do take the time to go through that. But the directions for everything should be pretty specific. If not, just shoot me an email. Drafts and essays. This tells you what we're doing, and again, mostly 3-page essays. And then at the very end, you have a final persuasion essay, which is considered the critical assignment. Critical assignments, they have to be passed at an acceptable rate in order to pass the course. What this means is, if you had, I guess theoretically it could happen, I've never had it happen, but let's say you had an A, and then you just decided, oh, you've got enough points, you don't need to do the final assignment. No, don't ever think that, because if you don't pass that critical assignment at an acceptable rate, you will not pass the course. So just make sure that you don't get too busy and think that it's smooth sailing ahead and you don't complete that. That one is a required component of the course. Smart thinking is so helpful, and because it's so helpful, we're asking that you'll submit a sample of writing to Smart Thinking, and the links will be again in Blackboard. Smart Thinking is going to look at specific things that you're asking them to look at, and then they're going to come back. Usually it takes them 24 to 48 hours to respond. I think their feedback is very helpful. And so that combined with what you're reading, with my lectures, and with my feedback should definitely help you improve. Now, grammar, it's not flashy, it's not shiny, it's not really interesting. However, this is the time for all of you to get serious about grammatical errors. And the reason is it affects what we call ethos in writing, your credibility as a writer. It has the ability to show that you are educated, that you are professional, and so it's just kind of the time for you guys to get serious about perhaps your weakest area of writing, and so we're going to work on that as well. Course evaluation, there are sometimes some rubrics for assignments. You'll be able to see in the course website all of those, and your points, it's point-based. So if I take 1,000 points and I look at the scale here, just multiply it out, and remember you have to get a C- or better. Do check your grades often. Believe me, I make mistakes. If an assignment sometimes is worth 10 points, I'm going so fast and I drop the 0, you end up with a 1, please just let me know. I'm happy to take care of that. All right, just a list of kind of things that are coming at you. I really would prefer that sometimes we move assignments to like day 4, but I just put them all at day 7. But let me just tell you, do not wait until day 7 to do all of the work. You will just kill yourselves. If you can just allow a couple hours a day to do one thing, you're far better off, and you will not hate me at the end of the course, not hate yourself by getting overwhelmed and causing you to procrastinate. So just some of my best advice, do it throughout the week, even though the assignments are not due until day 7. And then again, just a complete list of some things that we'll be doing. Scrolling down, as far as professionalism, everything has to be typed. Can't accept handwritten work. And something that's interesting here is work that has excessive errors, which is more than 2 per page, will be graded accordingly. It's really critical then that you do fix those things so that you're not losing points just because of grammar. This says all written assignments should be using the APA style format. I'm going to say that we need to use MLA format. And the reason I say that is it tends to be easier for students. If APA is a style that you're used to, I'm okay with that. In fact, I'd probably rather have you guys focus on the style format that your particular field uses. So if your major is English, for example, you would use MLA. If it's psychology or social science, you would use APA. So again, I'm going to be picky as far as the style format, but I'm leaving it up to you guys as far as choose the one that goes with your major. That to me seems more practical. Okay. When can you expect timely feedback? If you email me, I'll respond within 24 hours. When you turn in work, and this is really important because a lot of times students will think, well, I turned in my assignment 5 days early and I still, a week later, don't have it back. Well, allow 72 hours from the due date, not from the time that you submit it, for minor assignments to receive feedback, and then actually 1 week for major assignments for feedback, and that's after the submission deadline. And even though it says excluding weekends, I'm going to count weekends, so just use that as a guideline and you know when you should expect a response. Okay, late assignments. My policy is I really don't like late work, and the reason I don't like it is because it just pushes you behind, and also I probably won't have time to give you feedback because I'm already working on more newer material that's been submitted and projects that are coming up for other classes. So I decided to kind of meet you in the middle. I'm willing to accept late work 5 days after the original due date, okay? As long as you're going to accept these 3 conditions. 1, again, it may not be graded until much later. Assignments turned in on time will have precedence. Number 2, and this is really critical that you understand it, late work may not receive much or any feedback since assignments turned in on time will take precedence. So what that means is if you give me a rough draft submitted late or a final assignment turned in late, you're probably not going to receive feedback on that, which is not a good thing. So I just won't have time. And so keep that in mind. And then the third thing, in fairness to everybody who's submitting on time, is every day that your work is turned in late from the due date, it's marked down 10%, up to a maximum of 50%. The goal here is to communicate if anything comes up that's of course, a family emergency type situation, please communicate with me. We'll see what we can work out. None of this applies, though, to work after the course end date. Once our course ends, I can't accept any late work. Netiquette is a practice of how to communicate online. Just please take the time to look at this link. It's very helpful. Helps us to be respectful, professional, and really have some good citizenship. So do take the time to look at that. Final word, academic honesty. I'll try to go over this probably week 1 as far as plagiarism. This is a very serious issue, and I will tell you that every teacher on campus experiences this probably once every semester. The first time that a student has a violation of the honor code, it's handled between myself in consultation with the director of the student conduct, and it's handled on a case-by-case basis. It really depends on the seriousness of the violation and some other things. But let me just tell you that it could actually result in the failure of an exam, failure of the course, or even worse, suspension or expulsion from the university. And so I'll try to explain what it is, how to avoid plagiarism. We expect college students to understand the consequences and also understand what plagiarism is. So I will take time just to go over that briefly again, but I'm trying to stress this so that no one takes a shortcut, copy and paste material. It's just not a good habit, and it causes problems potentially. So keep that in mind. Finally, students with disabilities, if you have a documented disability, then the Coordinator of Disability Services will send me a letter, and you need to communicate that with them. I cannot make any kind of accommodations without their approval. So in a nutshell, that is our syllabus. I look forward to talking to you guys again week 1, but shoot me an email if you have any questions.